There's a shift happening in your life right now that you might not even fully recognize yet, but heaven has already set things in motion. While you've been praying, waiting, and perhaps even questioning whether your season is ever going to change, God has been orchestrating divine appointments, arranging circumstances, and positioning people in places they need to be so that when the right moment arrives, everything will fall into place with supernatural precision. The movement you've been asking for isn't coming someday in the distant future. It's already begun, and the number one sign that confirms you're about to experience a major shift is happening right now in ways you might be overlooking or dismissing as coincidence. Before we go any further, I want to welcome everyone watching today. Whether this is your first time here or you've been part of this community for a while, I'm so grateful you're here. This message is not by accident. God led you to this video at this exact moment because there's something He wants you to understand about the season you're in and where you're headed. If you're new to God's Prophecy Message channel, please take a moment to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the prophetic messages and spiritual guidance that God releases through this platform. And if you feel led in your spirit to support this ministry so we can continue bringing these words of encouragement and revelation to people who desperately need them, you can do so through Super Thanks right here or through our Buy Me Coffee link in the description. Your support helps us reach more hearts with the truth that God is still speaking, still moving, and still faithful to His promises. Now, let me ask you to do something that will activate your faith as we go through this message together. If you believe that God is moving you into a new season and that the signs are already manifesting in your life, I want you to type in the comments right now, "I receive." Don't just watch passively. Engage with what God is doing. When you declare, "I receive," you're aligning your spirit with heaven's agenda for your life. You're saying yes to the movement that's already in progress. So go ahead and type "I receive" in the comments, and let's dive into this powerful revelation. You need to understand something crucial about how God operates when He's about to move you into something new. He doesn't just suddenly drop a blessing into your lap without any preparation or warning. God is intentional about everything He does, and before He shifts you into your next chapter, He begins to release signs that confirm the transition is near. These signs aren't always dramatic or obvious. In fact, most people miss them because they're expecting something more spectacular, something that feels more like a movie moment. But God's signs are often subtle, woven into the fabric of your everyday life in ways that require spiritual discernment to recognize. The problem is that many believers are so focused on what they think the blessing should look like that they completely miss what God is actually doing right in front of them. The number one sign that you're about to move into your new season is this. You're experiencing an unusual restlessness in your spirit that's coupled with an unexplainable peace about something specific. That might sound contradictory, but let me explain what I mean. There's a restlessness that comes from anxiety, worry, and fear. That's not what I'm talking about. What you're experiencing right now is different. It's a stirring in your spirit that won't let you settle for where you are anymore. You feel like you've outgrown your current season, not because you're dissatisfied or ungrateful, but because something deep inside you knows that what you've been carrying is about to manifest. At the same time, there's this strange peace about something or someone you haven't even fully encountered yet. You have peace about a future you can't see, and that peace doesn't make logical sense based on your current circumstances. This combination of restlessness and peace is one of the most powerful indicators that heaven is about to shift things in your life. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11 tells us that God has made everything beautiful in its time, and He has also set eternity in the human heart. What this means is that God has placed within you an internal awareness of His timing and His purposes. You can sense when a season is ending and when a new one is about to begin because God designed you to be spiritually sensitive to His movements. That restlessness you feel isn't random. It's not just you being impatient or anxious. It's your spirit responding to what God is doing in the spiritual realm before it manifests in the natural realm. And the peace you feel about something you haven't yet experienced? That's God's way of preparing your heart to receive what He's about to give you. He gives you peace about your future before you even step into it, so that when it arrives, you'll recognize it as His doing and not be afraid or resistant. Here's something else that's happening as a sign of your imminent movement. The people and situations that used to drain you or distract you are suddenly losing their hold on you. You're finding it easier to walk away from conversations that don't serve your purpose. You're no longer tolerating behaviors from people that you used to overlook or make excuses for. Relationships that were once complicated are becoming clear. You're seeing people for who they really are, not who you hoped they would be, and that clarity is giving you the strength to create boundaries you never had before. This isn't you becoming cold or hard-hearted. This is you becoming spiritually mature and discerning. When God is about to move you forward, He begins to disconnect you emotionally and spiritually from anything that would hold you back or slow you down in your next season. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 says to guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. What you allow into your heart, what you give your emotional energy to, and who you stay connected to will directly impact where you end up. God knows this, which is why before He promotes you, before He brings you into alignment with your divine assignment, He starts removing your attachment to things and people that were never meant to go with you into your next chapter. If you've noticed that certain friendships feel different, that you're no longer interested in the same activities you used to enjoy, or that you're becoming more selective about how you spend your time and who you spend it with, that's not a sign that something is wrong with you. That's a sign that you're being prepared for elevation. You can't carry old mindsets, old connections, and old habits into new levels. God is doing the work of separation so that when your blessing arrives, you'll be ready to receive it without compromise. Another major sign that you're moving very soon is that you're starting to receive unexpected confirmations through dreams, random conversations, or even through things you see and hear that seem to speak directly to your situation. Maybe you've had a dream recently that felt significant, and even though you can't fully interpret it, you know in your spirit that it was God showing you something about your future. Or perhaps you've had multiple people who don't even know each other say similar things to you within a short period of time, and it felt too coincidental to ignore. These are not coincidences. These are divine confirmations that God is speaking to you and affirming that what you've been believing for is about to come to pass. When God is preparing to move you, He floods your life with signs and confirmations because He wants you to have full assurance that what's happening is His doing and not just your imagination or wishful thinking. In the book of Genesis chapter 15 verse 1, God appeared to Abram in a vision and said, "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward." Before God moved Abraham into the fullness of His promise, He gave him a vision, a word, and a confirmation. God doesn't leave His people in the dark about what He's doing. He speaks, He confirms, and He reassures. If you've been receiving signs, dreams, or prophetic words that all seem to point in the same direction, pay attention. Don't dismiss them as random or insignificant. God is speaking to you through multiple channels because He wants you to be confident and prepared when the time comes for you to step into what He has for you. You might also notice that doors are starting to open in unexpected ways and opportunities are presenting themselves that you didn't pursue or plan for. This is another clear indicator that heaven is orchestrating your movement. When God is ready to move you, He doesn't wait for you to figure everything out or to have all the answers. He simply begins to open doors and create pathways that align with His plan for your life. You'll find yourself in conversations that lead to opportunities. You'll receive invitations to events or spaces that you wouldn't normally have access to. People will reach out to you seemingly out of nowhere with offers or connections that feel too perfectly timed to be random. These are all signs that God is positioning you for what's next, and He's doing it in ways that only He can orchestrate. Isaiah chapter 22 verse 22 says, "I will place on His shoulder the key to the house of David. What He opens, no one can shut, and what He shuts, no one can open." When God decides to open a door for you, no amount of opposition, delay, or interference can stop it. The doors that are opening for you right now are not because you're lucky or because you worked harder than everyone else. They're opening because God is